Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Lighthouse. Again, my name is Jon Puryear. I am on part 2 of a series that I am calling From Denim to Diamonds. Again, I am the denim, and my wife is the diamond. But hopefully you already watched part 1, and now you're coming into part 2. So just kind of review what we're talking about in this series. I'm talking about how an iPad or an iPhone or a tablet or something, how in the App Store it will say that some of your apps need to be updated. You know, when you look at the App Store and then all of a sudden it's got a number there and it tells you however many apps that you have need to be updated. So it's because there has been an improvement on that app. They have made some changes that hopefully fixed some bugs or, made something a little bit better. So they want you to be able to update that application so you get the improvement. So what we're doing is we're, again, trying to update ourselves. It is us. You put your own picture on your iPad or your tablet, whatever it is. And now we want to be able to update some of the qualities that we have in us. Now, in the last presentation that I did, we talked about us. We talked about you and me, how we update our character, our integrity, and different things. So again, if you haven't seen that one, I would really recommend that you go back and watch that one. Now, in this lesson, what I want to talk about is how are you as a spouse? If you're married, man or woman, how are you as a mate? How are you as a husband? How are you as a wife? And if you're not married, it's not counting you out. I want you to think about who you will be as somebody's mate, as a spouse. If you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a fiance, it's still the same thing. It is a relationship with another person. So how are you as that person's mate? How do you treat your spouse? Do you talk negatively about them in public and into friends? Or do you speak positive about your mate when you're around people, especially when you're with friends, good friends, or your parents or your children? Because it really does nothing good to be able to talk bad about your mate to anybody. Not your friends, not your best friend, especially not your parents. You don't talk about the fights or the arguments that you may have in your own home, in your own relationship to your parents or children, because you may be able to forgive your mate and you may work it out with them, but your parents or your children will never forget it, and they may hold that against your mate when you're past it. You're done with that issue. So, you really need to speak positive about your mate. You need to say good things. You need to talk about their good qualities that you really like and build them up, encourage them, and inspire them, not knock them down, not treat them as insignificant, not degrading. You still have to look at their feeling. The thing that I always say to anybody that I am going to marry, going to do their wedding, or if I'm talking to my wife, is I always want to outlove my wife every day. And I encourage you, if all you could do all day long, every single day, is try to outlove your mate, then you're not going to have any fights. You're not going to have the arguments. You're not going to talk bad about your mate. Now, we all understand that we're going to have some bad days. We're going to have some disagreements. We're going to have some arguments, and that's okay. But to have World War 58 is just not good. If we get to that point, then we truly need to find a professional. We need to go to counseling, and we need to get somebody who is trained in that to be able to help us to be able to mediate that. So I want to look at, again, the Bible, and there are several things, because I truly want to update myself as being a spouse. So I go to the Bible, and there's a couple of things that I really want to talk to you about. Let me grab my iPad where I have my Glow Bible on. And the first verse that I want to read to you is in the first book of the Bible in the Old Testament, and it's Genesis, and it's chapter 2, verse 24 and 25. And what it says in the very beginning of Adam and Eve, and it says, "That is why a man leaves his father and mother and is united to his wife as they become one flesh." When you get married, you are now not just your own individual person. You and your mate are now one flesh. It's like a piece of paper. And the paper mill will cut down the trees and grind them up and mix all the chemicals and everything, make pulp, right? And finally form paper, and then they cut them in sheets of paper. I just want you to think about printer paper that you're going to put in, in your printer and print something out from your computer. That is a piece of paper, but there's a lot of stuff inside of there that is making that sheet of paper whole. So you and your mate, you're two individual people, but you now have blended, you have molded, you have transformed to where you are one with your mate, just like that one sheet of paper. And in order to separate that paper again, you have to rip that paper in half. I mean, you literally grab a sheet of paper and you tear it in half. If you separate from your spouse, if I've been through divorces, I've been there, I understand, but it hurts because it's like ripping a sheet of paper in half. You're not one anymore. That is painful. So that is why our first priority is our mate. I mean, we've got God first, and then we have our mate. Okay? We have to be a good spouse. Now, let me read you something again out of my Bible, and it is story time. And ladies and gentlemen, when you want to look at some stories that are really juicy, forget about the little love novels and, all that stuff with Fabio on there. Read some of the stories in the Bible. I mean, it gets pretty good. And what I want to read is I just want to read 2 chapters out of the book Song of Songs. Okay? And it's a good example of what a husband feels for his wife and what a wife feels for her husband. Okay? So just follow me here so I can read you a story. Song of Solomon's chapter 4. This is he speaking. "How beautiful you are, my darling. Oh, how beautiful. Your eyes behind your veil are doves. Your hair is like a flock of goats descending from the hills of Gilead. Your teeth are like a flock of sheep just shorn, coming up from the washing. Each has its twin. Not one of them is alone. Your lips are like scarlet ribbon. Your mouth is lovely. Your temples behind your veil are like the halves of pomegranates. Your neck is like the tower of David, built with course of stone. On it hang 1,000 shields, all of them shields of warriors. Your breasts are like 2 fawns, like twin fawns of gazelles that browse amongst the lilies. Until the day breaks and the shadows flee, I will go to the mountain of myrrh and to the hill of incense. You are altogether beautiful, my darling. There is no flaw in you. Come with me from Lebanon, my bride. Come with me from Lebanon. Descend from the crest of Ammon, from the top of Senir, the summit of Haran, from the lion dens and mountain haunts leopards. You have stolen my heart, my sister, my bride. You have stolen my heart with one glance of your eyes, with one jewel of your necklace. How delightful is your love, my sister, my bride. How much more pleasing is your love than wine, and the fragrance of your perfume more than any spice. Your lips drop sweetness as the honeycomb, my bride. Milk and honey are under your tongue. The fragrance of garments is like the fragrance of Lebanon. You are a garden locked up, my sister, my bride. You are a spring enclosed, a sealed fountain. Your plants are an orchard of pomegranates with choice fruits, with henna and nard and saffron, calamus and cinnamon, with every kind of incense tree, with myrrh and aloes and the finest spices. You are a garden fountain, a well of flowing water streaming down from Lebanon. What she says back to him after this: awake, north wind, and come, south wind. Blow on my garden, that its fragrance may spread everywhere. Let my beloved come into his garden and taste his choice fruits. Okay, now let me read you 5. Still story time. This is what he says. I have come to into my garden, my sister, my bride. I have gathered my myrrh with my spice. I have eaten my honeycomb and my honey. I have drunk my wine and my milk. And what the friends around them say is, eat, friends, and drink. Drink your fill of love. And here's what she says back. I slept, but my heart was awake. Listen, my beloved is knocking. Open to me, my sister, my darling, my love, my flawless one. My head is drenched with dew, my hair with dampness of the night. I have taken off my robe. Must it be put on again? I have washed my feet. Must I soil them again? My beloved thrust his hand through the latch opening. My heart began to pound for him. I arose to open for my beloved, and my hands dripped with myrrh, my fingers with flowing myrrh on the handles of the bolt. I opened for my beloved, but my beloved had left. He was gone. My heart sank at his departure. I looked for him, but I did not find him. I called him, but he did not answer. The watchmen found me as they made their rounds in the city. They beat me, they bruised me, they took away my cloak, those watchmen of the walls. Daughters of Jerusalem, I charge you, if you find my beloved, what will you tell him? Tell him I am faint with love. So the friends looked at her and they said, how is your beloved better than others, most beautiful of women? How is your beloved better than others, that you so charge us? Here's her answer. Here's what she is saying about her beloved, about her husband. My beloved is radiant and ruddy, outstanding among 10,000. His head is purest of gold. His hair is wavy and black as a raven. His eyes are like doves by the water streams, washened in milk, mounted like jewels. His cheeks are like beds of spice, yielding perfume. His lips are like lilies, dripping with myrrh. His arms are rods of gold set with topaz. His body is like polished ivory decorated with lapis lazuli. His legs are pillars of marble set upon bases of pure gold. His appearance is like Lebanon, choice as its cedars. His mouth is sweetness itself. He is altogether lovely. This is my beloved. This is my friend, daughters of Jerusalem. Guys, that's just a little bit out of the Song of Songs. And I really encourage you to read the entire book because it expresses the love that a man and a woman, a husband and a wife should have for the other. They always talk good about each other. They always speak positively about the other one, never talking bad about the other one to friends, to family, to anybody. They may have some feelings and some hard times, but they are always speaking. They are lifting them up. They are encouraging them. And I encourage you to buy the book that is called The 5 Love Languages. And that is a really good book because you may not know how to express your mate or fulfill your mate's love language. You may think that I feel loved by being praised, by being told how good I am, by being given gifts. You know, that may be your love language, but that may not be your mate's. It's kind of like buying a Christmas gift for somebody. You don't buy them what you want. You ask them, you spend time with them, and you find out what they like and what they want for Christmas, and that's what you get them. That is a meaningful Christmas gift. Does that make sense? Treat your spouse right. Maybe this is where you need the update button in your character on how you are a spouse, a mate to your husband or your wife or your significant other. I leave you again with another quote just from me. I want you to have a joyful life. I want you to have a life worth meaning. And that's the reason for this series, From Denim to Diamonds. This was part 2. So be sure to watch my next broadcast, which is part 3, and we're going to look at a third area that may need to be updated in our own character book. So God bless you all, and you have a great day.